Welcome back to Gatecrashers. This episode is an interview with the Adams family, who have done many films that are all on Shudder, but this one specifically is about Mother of Flies. I am so excited every time I get to talk to the Adams family. They are just wonderful people to talk to, extremely talented, making films as a family. This one is just bonkers. It's so good. So make sure you subscribe to Shudder, which has so many great horror movies, and support the Adams family by checking out their new film. I promise you're going to love it. Now, get ready for the interview. First and foremost, holy shit. It may be my favorite one of your films. I have a lot to say, but let's ask the questions. I can tell you how much I love it later. So, I'm very lucky today to sit down with the Adams family once again. This film, Mother of Flies, deals with a witch. And Toby, you deliver these like elegant soliloquy type story bits of like the world and everything. It just feels so rhythmic and there's just an energy to it. How did you go about writing these parts of the film? Like what went into one of these like soliloquies?
Well, first I kind of just like wait for the moon to get full, and then I take off all my clothes and I take a bath in the moonlight.
Yeah, you're telling all our secrets.
The slugs roll all over me.
Zelda, close up your ears. We're going to kind of podcast.
No, I just, you know what? We live deep in the woods on a mountain in the forest, and we're constantly inspired by nature, and I love thinking of the slugs that crawl on our feet when we take a walk, through the grass. I love thinking about the death and rebirth, and I love poetry, and I love witchcraft, and I loved Solveig. So it was all just a chance to throw a lot of love onto the page and then onto the screen.
I really do love that you bring up the nature of your area and things like that, because I do feel like New York is a character in a lot of your films because it's mostly filmed around there. What do you think the nature of your area has done to influence your art?
Wow, best question. I've never heard that question. It's done so much to influence our art because the Catskill Mountains, where we're from, are they're both beautiful, but they're also kind of brutal. They're kind of stark. They're not quite majestic. That's what our whole movie ethos is about. It's about like just the toughness, but the beauty of it all. Do you know? And we always call it brutiful.
I love that.
I'll also add that we always say that nature is our main character because she brings us so much that we never would have even expected. So oftentimes we're improvising around what nature is bringing for us, whether that's, a beautiful cloudy day, which we love shooting in, or, little young deer that we need to get a shot of because it's perfect for our storyline. You know what I mean? She's just the best.
And I do think nature is huge for all of this, especially in this one. The atmosphere is as important to the horror as the actual subject. I'm so curious how you did sound design for this one, because there is music, the Hellbender, I didn't miss it. So fucking good. But I'm so curious how you did the sound design for just the animal noises and the bugs and the things in the woods, because it's so well recorded.
Oh, thank you. Just super generous of you. Everything that you're saying. This was a pleasure to do the sound for, because just as Zelda said, nature showed up and laid down a soundtrack. And so it was very interesting because we edited the movie and then it was we were going to start putting our songs on it and putting sound design on it. But the problem was nature had, not the problem, the beauty of it was that nature had already put down most of the soundtrack. And those bugs and the wind and the trees creaking, we're all just there being picked up on the mics. And so that was really fun. So we only put, I think, 5 Hellbender songs on this one. And we pretty much laid off, trying to tell the audience what to feel with sound design, because nature had really acted her ass off and had put up a beautiful audio track.
It works. It's so...
Thank you.
It's hard to do these interviews when I love something so much because I just want to gush about it because it's amazing. Speaking of gushing, Zelda, you have some very traumatic scenes in this film. Where do you practice your kind of horror screeches? Is it easier that you're out in the Catskills? Like, can you just go outside and just let it rip?
Yeah, definitely. I did get a little insecure when we did like the snake egg scene, which for those of you that haven't seen it, you'll see. But that was shot on the river right next to our neighbor's house, and I was a little insecure about my shrieks. But I've learned that everyone around us just knows that we're like the freaks on the hill that make horror movies. So I just let myself like give into it. Yeah.
There is such a every scene is everyone has some real traumatic stuff. John, your vomiting scene is rough. You do so much of this on your own. Where do you get the kind of skills to build out these things? Like even the set in this one. I would love to hear more about that house because holy smokes. So just like where do you kind of hone your skills in things like special effects and set building? Like, where does everyone get your...
Well, this one was a real joy. The outside of the house is our house that we did build on our own. But then what happened with Trey composited in the trees. So it's like, that's exactly what our house looks like, but Trey composited in the trees. So it looks like a house that's growing out of the forest. And so that's Trey's genius. He's just so good at making things look real. And we just loved what he did with the exterior of the house. The interior of the house, we actually built in, my sister has a big farm and she has a barn, and we got to use the very top floor of the barn. And so we brought in all that moss and all the trees, and there was a logging outfit that had stripped all the bark off of all the logs before they sawmilled it. So we took all the bark and we nailed it to the walls. It's actually just a real joy to have the time to do set dressing and things like that. And that includes the special effects of a lot of the gore and a lot of the blood. It's just like really fun for us all to sit around and figure out how are we going to do this with no money. Right.
And you seem to pull it off every time. Now, one of the big kind of overall themes for me of the film is faith. There's a lot of really beautiful quotes throughout, but I'm so curious to you, what does faith mean outside of religious dogma? Like for you, what does your sort of faith look like?
Wow, what a beautiful
question. I want to hear everybody's answer. Zell, you going to start?
Sure. Well, you go.
Well, I just know that faith, like the way I look at faith, and this is the most important thing in the movie, and you are the first person to just put it in words. Faith is life has been given to us all. And we didn't invent it. We're just here. Faith brought you into life. And I feel the same way about death. I have faith in death. I have zero religious structure, but I have faith in death because life worked out. Death is going to work out. And I have no control over it anyway. So it's best to just have complete faith.
Faith for me is love. It really is. And that I think the more love you have, the more you balance the fear and darkness we also all have in us. And so for me, I don't follow any kind of religious structure, but I believe in the invisible warfare of love.
Yeah, I honestly just kind of interchange faith and belief so often. Like, I think for Mickey, it was just so important that she believed in what she was setting foot on when she went to go meet Solveig. And that's what faith is for me, is just believing that everything is going to work out the way that it should because life is beautiful and so is death.
Yeah, your scene specifically, Zelda, is so incredible when you talk about faith in the film that it inspired all this. Now, another thing about the film is that I think the editing is so slick. There is a specific cut with a diner and a motel sign that is, I like clapped when I saw it. I was like, that is so cool. I love, so good. How do you think you have improved as editors on film now that you've done it a few times?
You
Especially
just
at
make
this
God's
level.
Yeah, you
hair.
just made, I'm
Maybe.
speechless right now. Yeah, you did. I just love that. Thank you. You know what? It's just becoming more and more fun. And so things like that diner to motel swipe was just like, I realized I saw this diner and I'm like, oh, it'd be great if we could get from the diner to this, just like with with a car swipe going by. And Trey helped me do that. And Trey was integral in the beauty of that cut. And thank you for pointing out that cut because it was so fun. And we both worked really hard on it. And it goes by very fast, but it's really important.
I rewound it because I really liked it. There's another one where it's like it's you actually. The cut is your face and then it's gone. And it is such a driver in like what is going on here is beyond comprehension.
Great.
That I really love. Zelda, for you, outside of here, you also model. I'm very curious, being that every shot for a model is typically set up. What for you is important in a setup of a shot in a film like this? Like, what matters most to you in a scene?
For me, I think it's really important that one, the lighting is good. We always shoot in like cloud covered lighting because that you can manipulate the most easily later in Premiere Pro to make it look like a different time of day, to make it seem more moonlit. So that's, first of all, really important. Also, just like composition, it's so vital. And I think it really like creates a beautiful, like either symmetry or uneasiness if you kind of go against composition in your shots. I will say just like cinematography is my favorite thing when I'm making these movies with my family. And so that's what I'm always thinking of. And with the whole modeling thing, it's so nice to just not care about what I look like in our films because I think we want our films to feel as real as possible. So I can look back on films like Hellbender where I have like pimples in all these shots, and it's so wonderful because that's who I am, you know?
It's very visceral. It's real. It's all real. It feels real. I'm never going to get that word out. It's fine. Toby, your character, again, everyone is incredible in this film, but the witch is like has stuck with me. These shots of her like standing in the distance or just being kind of a shadow looming over everything is so incredible. Your costume is quite simple, but it's evocative. What went into that look for you? Like, your hair is so great. Like, everything about it is just like, this rocks.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you. I was in Iceland for a couple days, getting from Europe to New York, back to New York, and they just are like the masters of woolens. And so I got a bunch of wool stuff there and the kind of long skirt. I was in Germany at a film festival, and I walked into this great place, and there was this wonderful big thing that was supposed to be a scarf or a poncho or a blanket or a throw. And I was like, well, I'm going to cut a hole in that expensive piece of wool and I'm going to make it Solveig's poncho. And I did. So yeah, we knew we had something simple that could get dirty. She was such a pleasure.
Yeah, the poncho rocks. Big fan of the look. Now, my final question. This film is dealing with death and all sorts of different ethos of death, rebirth, those types of things. Where did you initially kind of want to tackle a topic with this and witchcraft? Because I know you're into all those things as a family. What went into making this film as thematic as it is? Like, what drove you to make this?
Yeah, that's a really great, deep question, and I can answer. I think each of us had our own reason that we loved making this movie. Mine is for that exact principle, which is to honor death. Like life can be very hard, and it does take your innocence. If you experience life, your innocence goes away. And what innocence is, like what we were saying before, faith. But death holds your innocence. And you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the movie, you don't know what I'm talking about. But death does hold your innocence. And that's kind of the great circle of life and death. And the two of them are inseparable.
It's funny, when we were first conjuring up the next film we wanted to make, we were talking a lot about magic, and we had a friend we saw at a film festival who would stop us on the street and say, "Let me show you this trick about magic." And it made us feel like little kids. And the beauty of what is this concept of magic? Obviously, it's not supernatural, this trick that this man is doing in the middle of a street. And Zelda and I like to go to magic shows. But there is the innocence of magic. And also, I think there's a desperation to want to believe it that makes it so much fun. And so for me, that was behind the necromancy in this film. And what Mickey has gone to Solveig to achieve is a kind of magic, but it led into this conversation also about Western medicine, because cancer therapy is a kind of strange magic that is really weird on paper, but it works if you're lucky. And so for me, it was a fun study on magic, and when you're dying and you just want any kind of like magic pill to save you, that's a rich playing field to build a horror story, because you want it so badly, and you can do anything within that realm of desperation.
Yeah. And I'll just add that I think it was time for us to make this story because cancer has been something that's a part of our family history. And it felt like it was time to just approach that and really therapize ourselves in making a piece of very empowering work.
Yeah.
Okay. Best word ever, therapized.
Yeah.
Therapized.
I like that one.
I'm going to have a shirt that says therapized.
I want to slice of that pie.
There's such a good bit where you say, I think it's the only difference between a poison and a cure is the dosage. I was like, damn, that is wild truth I just never had put together. So thank you all for chatting with me about this movie. It is going to be on Shudder on January 23rd. So if you're listening and this hasn't convinced you, please go watch it. It is magical. A few of your other films are on Shudder as well, I think, or they were. Check it all out. The Addams Family fucking rules. Thank you all.
You fucking rule, and you just invigorated us on our next film. Thank you for that love and power.
Yeah.
Just a big, big